Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, video game podcast that all you speedrunners listen to. This week on Taste of Dragons, we'll be talking about after the party, we gotta escape to space. The news has gotta go fast. Our topic is all about the glow up, and this week we have a crystal dragon, which is nice, you know? It's nice to have somebody that you can see right through.
I like this riddle this time. Yeah. It's really good. I mean, I liked him before. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say what I didn't like him, but I really like this riddle.
I appreciate that. And then, as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda. And I'm Joe.
Yeah. So, how was your guys' week?
Pretty good. This is the second week of the new year, so not as important as the first week. Or it doesn't have as much importance in social norms as the first week does.
Correct. But I think it actually has even more importance.
Oh, why so?
Because it's one of those, your resolutions are really easy to carry over for like a week. It's the second week that matters.
This is the true week.
Yeah. This is the week, like, is it going to keep going?
So one of my out-of-game resolutions was to start drawing in a journal. Because Life is Strange 2, there's the main character journals by drawing. So I started doing that. And I've tried to do this before. I tried journaling with poetry. I've tried journaling, just regular journaling. In the new year, it lasts about 4 days, and then I just run out of words. I'm like, ugh. I don't get past the second week. I am happy to report I have made it to day 8.
Nice.
Of journaling through drawing. And you're right. The second week is very important because that is the true test of your resolute.
It is. So is it like journaling?
Journaling?
Yeah, I actually had it way better in my brain. And as soon as I went to say it, it was gone.
Journaling?
Yeah, journaling.
Sometimes when I fall asleep, I drew learning.
Yeah.
All over the place. It's really gross. It's cool, though, because it's like I don't have to worry about writing. I can just see in my head. I'm not a great drawer, but it doesn't matter. It's just sketch. You all will pop up in it at some point. Ooh. I don't care showing it to people. Yeah,
I haven't touched my video game resolution. I know I was very confident about it. About learning how to block. But then I went down and played my game for the week, and I was just like, well, I've already started. I can't start blocking now. I mean, I didn't spend any points in blocking.
You didn't put your points in blocking.
I can't. It would be irresponsible to do it now. But I am. I'm going to do it.
It's fair.
On my next game.
I haven't bought any Metroidvanias, but I am looking to see what Metroidvania I will buy. And I think it's going to be Shadow Complex if it's available. Yeah. That's one of the most classic Metroidvanias out there from yesteryear, and I've always wanted to play that game.
Nice.
Just hated the format.
I haven't played any game that has an ending so far this year, so
good luck on that resolution.
Yeah, it's
Brian.
Kind of moot for me.
Hey, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I can't finish the game because they don't end. It's just
they're endless.
Destiny forever.
Yeah.
Joe, did you buy a game that you haven't played yet?
No, I was really good. I actually looked in the eShop and I was about to buy that River City Girls game, and I'm just keep waiting for it to go on sale, but it hasn't yet. And I was like, wait. I gotta go back to Pokemon. I gotta go back to something else. This is not right. So I didn't buy a game this week.
Hey, it's been 1 week. We're doing pretty good.
I feel like Joe's winning, though.
Brian, you've won me over on the relevancy of the second week.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. That second week is important.
It is. You don't realize it until you're like, wait, I haven't done anything. I was so good.
Gotta stick with it.
You do. Let's get into our games then.
What are you playing?
And this week, I'll start us off. Cool. So this week, if you listened to our What I'm Not Talking About on Instagram last week, you will know the game I am talking about this week, which is Escape from Tarkov. It is a first-person shooter online game. So what you have is you have like
How have I never heard of this game before?
I don't know.
It might be because there's no women in it.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's that game, but there's a reason for it. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
We could talk about that later. But yeah, this is a game that has been around for I think 2 or 3 years now, but it's still just in perpetual beta.
One of those.
This game was started by a person who loves first-person games, and he's played a lot of like the survival games, but they were never anything that he really wanted. So he decided, this is a Russian guy, and he was like, you know what, I want to make my perfect game. So as of right now, as of 2 or 3 years later, it is at 0.12 beta or 0.13 beta.
Okay.
So he's He's adding a lot of stuff to it. So he wants to add a lot of
he
stuff.
took perfect very seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes time to make perfection.
It does.
You know, I don't want to rush him on that.
What's even funnier is the guy himself.
I wish that was intentional, but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it's fine. The guy himself, because he wants to play his perfect game, he's not playing it at all. He wants to wait till version 1.0 to play his game that he envisions.
Oh, that's fun.
So which is kind of funny.
So is he relying on other people to tell him how it is?
No, he's just adding his own stuff. Like he has his own wish list of what he wants. In this. So he's just iteratively adding it.
Well, that's beautiful.
So basically, what this game is, it's a first-person game. But the thing is so you have your player character. And you kit him out. You can give him a weapon, you can give him armor, you can give him like a backpack so he can carry stuff and take stuff out. And then it drops you inside of a map. And so the map, depending on which map it is, has a certain amount of other player characters in it, and it also has some NPCs in it.
Real players?
Real players.
Like you and me?
Like you and me.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's like a PvPvE. So player versus player versus
I love PvPvs.
Yeah, PvPvs. But like PUBG and all these other games, you can loot stuff when you're in the game and put it in your backpack. And you have, I think, a certain amount of time. It's a different time for every single map.
Does his perfect game involve a lot of item inventory management?
It very much so
Not
does.
perfect. Not perfect.
Oh, it very much so does. But
if it's fun, it's fine.
Oh yeah, it's actually it's very fun.
Okay.
And the reason for it is because you loot all this stuff and your goal is to get as much stuff as you can and get out.
Okay.
That's the premise. In practice though, you die a lot.
Okay. How?
But so you can other player characters can shoot you.
Oh, come on.
The enemy characters that are inside the game
come
can
on.
shoot you. You can just not extract yourself before the time limit's up, so
That's
you just
your
get
choice.
stranded. And so it depends on how you want it, like risk versus reward.
Because it's an escape from
escape from Tarkov.
Oh, okay.
But if you die, everything you have on you is gone.
Ooh.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the game ends, so you have to start over from the beginning.
You're still fine. You can still go back out there with your stuff.
Okay.
It's just that everything that you had on you is gone.
Okay.
All the other players in that map can loot it if they wanted to. If they find your body, they can take it.
Can you loot your own body?
No, because you're gone. That map's done. But if you kill another player, you can take their stuff. You kill an enemy player, you can take their stuff.
I see what this perpetuates.
So it's like a risk versus reward. There's a lot of stuff in there, I'm sure, but I don't want to lose my stuff. And so,
right.
but there's good stuff in there. So do I want to risk losing all of my stuff that I have on me? And it's about just making sure you have either enough money to replace the stuff. Don't go in with stuff you can't lose. Is basically
so. There's shops in this game too.
Yeah.
Is this like a village?
It's a giant map. So have you ever played PUBG or one of those types of things?
Yeah.
So it's basically one of those types of worlds.
Okay.
So depending on the map, one of the maps is just a giant mall.
That's actually very interesting.
Yeah, and it all takes place in Russia.
Right.
And like I said, one of the maps is just a giant mall, and it has a whole bunch of stores in there, and you can go in there and take some stuff.
If PUBG was PUBG, but it had NPC characters in it, it would make the world much more livelier and does change the emphasis of those games.
It does.
Is there fishing?
There's not fishing.
He said it was the perfect game, Mandy.
No
Gosh.
fishing.
I will say it does probably have the best gun mechanics I've ever seen.
Oh, how
That's
so?
cool.
You can attach 1,000 different attachments to your guns.
So it's very customizable.
It's very customizable.
That's great.
Everything down from the stock of the gun to the grip to
that's even more interesting when you loot people because you're going to be getting some unique items. You won't just be getting SMG number 3.
Exactly.
But you're getting something that's very personal to someone. I feel bad now.
Yeah, absolutely. And but
the apples.
Everything's very customizable. The ammo's customizable, so you can get either armor piercing ones or you can get ones that do more flesh damage.
Do you get fishing ammo?
No.
Come on.
It's not perfect then.
I know it's not. It's just not.
I like the idea that you call bait fishing ammo.
I'm not wrong.
He's not wrong.
It's true.
He's 0.1. It's 0.13.
It's not done yet. One day it will be perfect.
It will.
We're just helping him out.
But it's very much so it's it's fun to watch because I watched some people stream it, but it is much more fun to play because it's a lot more of like
those are the best
nervous
type of
energy type of, oh crap, am I going to get this? Oh, there's a person all the way down the field. Can I snipe them?
The point is, inevitably, you will not make it. You just kind of see how far you can get.
Yeah,
and then start over.
Yeah, basically you go into every single
there's no
one of
winning
these maps.
This.
Basically, yeah. Every single time you go into a map, just expect to lose everything. And
right.
If you make it out if you make it out, you're good.
It's like a don't starve. You can't really beat don't starve. You just keep going until you're done. You're taken down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's the journey that was the true reward.
Yeah, it is. So, but the game's actually phenomenal.
That sounds
I've
great.
been having a lot of fun with it.
I look forward to its release.
Yeah.
Then I'll play it.
Like 10 years.
I don't just want its release. I want its release on like PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably be PlayStation 6.
But it'll be perfect.
It will.
There will be fishing.
The creator of the game will be in his deathbed, just like, I got it. This is it.
Send. And his last thing he sends is fishing ammo. That's the last thing he adds.
It's called the Troy. But yeah, that was the game I played this week. Escape from Tarkov.
Would the bullets look like little fishes?
Yeah, I'm thinking the little worms and like bait.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Little flies. I don't know. Plastic flies, little bobbers.
Would that be the game's hook for you?
You're fishing for a compliment from me, aren't you?
I was.
He was really reeling that in.
I was. We're just lining them up, all right?
Yep.
Taking him to school.
Nicely done there, Joe.
Next. Next.
Yeah. How about you, Amanda? What did you play this week?
I dove back into Outer Worlds. That's what I was playing last week. It's what I've kind of continued to play. I've been really enjoying it.
Is that the game that should not be confused with Outer Wild?
That's true. You should not confuse those two games. I don't know who would do that.
Yeah,
They're
I don't
just
know
so
why.
very different. But for those who might be confused, this is the one that's very much like Fallout and Mass Effect kind of together.
It's so talky.
It is. It is. I haven't gotten too much further than I was last week, but I have gotten to a new planet, which has been a lot of fun.
Nice.
And one of the things the game does that I didn't really discover last week is they kind of have multiple solutions to the same puzzle.
Yeah.
Which has been very cool. So
you mentioned it had multiple solutions to the same conversations.
Right. So it does make sense.
Now you're seeing that in the puzzling aspect. And what is like a puzzle in this game?
So I went into a building. And it was filled with monsters. And I get to choose who I bring with me. Creatures, I guess not monsters. I get to choose who I bring with me. And all of my people have different skills. So depending on who I brought with me, I can solve things in a different way.
Like a companion system.
Yes,
like Mass
I have
Effect 2 or so.
6 companions.
Nice.
So,
nice.
And all of them have different skills.
Friends. We call those friends sometimes.
Well, some of them are my friends and some of them I just met and we're not friends yet.
Wow.
We
They
might
know
be
who
friends.
they are.
They do know who they are. But depending on who you bring in, you can kind of solve the puzzles differently, which is really interesting. So, like, there were creatures in this one building, and if I brought this one lady, she's really good at attacking and killing the creatures. That's like her jam.
Okay. Hunter.
Yes. She's like a big game hunter is kind of her theme. And then I can bring this other lady who's a doctor, and if I bring her, she can like release gas into the area that kills the animals but doesn't hurt us.
Humane.
So, well,
Humanely killing the animals.
sure.
Is she just farting?
No, if I remember correctly, no, it doesn't matter. I was going to explain like the gas levels, but if
I'm
you
the
play the game,
fart
enjoy the
doctor.
science. But I thought that was really interesting. So I could choose to kill things and the standard like shoot 'em up kind of like run through this
Bloody,
area, kill
messy.
everything, or I could go out of my way to puzzle the other solution.
Okay. Which was
so if I
gassing
spent
them.
my points in certain areas, I would be able to bring her with me and then go into certain rooms and then turn on the CO2. So basically, if I'm that person who doesn't want to read anything, I'm really going to enjoy the game because I'm going to get the shoot 'em up that I want. And if I'm the person, like I am, who really enjoys the story, I can get that background story and get like a completely different solution to the same puzzle.
I feel like games that have like an active choice system like that do a really good job at making you feel like it's your game and you're having a very unique experience.
Oh, yeah,
where
yeah.
it's, hey, either way you're going down this path, but since you're choosing how you go down this path, makes it seem as if you're the only one experiencing this way, and that's always a wonderful feeling in games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
No, I was just gonna say, I agree, because that was one of the disconnects I had with Borderlands 3. Like Borderlands 3 is just, I mean, no matter what you do, you're just going to go and shoot things, which is fine. But I just didn't care about the story.
It can only sustain itself for so long.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
This was especially fun because
pretentious of me to say that. But these days of gaming, I need my
we've
choice.
really grown.
Oh, I only get 2 choices. Yeesh. Wow. Where's the complexity? Where's the earnestness?
2 years ago, with the other Borderland, it was acceptable. But now,
these days, yikes, Maurice.
But the coolest part is if I wanted to, I could even do a mixture of solutions. Like I could bring the doctor with me and kill the things, even though she's not as good at it.
Interesting.
For the building that I was in, they had like 2 to 3 puzzles like that. So it wasn't like this is the mission and then you have choice A and choice B and you get to choose, very like Fable style. No, you have like a bunch of different combination of things that you can do to make every experience.
It sounds like you have choice A, B, and C, and then all the gray area in between.
Yes, which has been really cool.
That game's, I really want to play that game.
It's a good game.
Yikes.
You should.
I still have to finish Outer Wilds, not to be confused with Outer Worlds.
That's true.
Correct. I feel like you would also really enjoy Deus Ex. I think just Deus Ex, yeah.
Oh, I haven't played that.
Yeah, that's basically where a lot of people get, or a lot of games get their, like this type of thing. Because there was like, 4 or 5 different ways you could do it, and then all the ways in between.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That
Deus
great.
Ex kind of brought that to the forefront in a really powerful way. It's a little boring, though.
Yes. Oh, very much so. Most of the solutions are boring, I will say.
But they're your boring.
They are your boring issues.
But it was the first kind of boring, and that's what matters.
It's true, actually. Like, there's so many things where it's just like, this is really great. And you go back to playing and go, oh, man, this was rough or boring or all of the above.
But it was the funnest thing we had.
And it was the first.
Yeah, it was the first.
It's fine.
Innovative.
Yeah. So how far into it are you?
I don't know how long it is, so I can't give you like a percentage, but I got off the first world, and I've done like 2/3 of the second world.
Oh, okay.
And I think the map has like 6 planets I can travel to.
Oh, okay.
Other things, after I learn about them, might unlock. I might not be able to see them until I learn about them, so I'm sure there's more content. Okay. But I would 20%.
Nice.
Just thumb in the air.
I like it. As far as choices go, like 2%. All right. Well, nicely done. How about you, Troy?
Talking about Taki games, I am playing a Taki game. It is by the developers Night School Studios. They are the makers of Oxenfree, another Taki game.
Yep.
I'm playing After Party, a game that came out in October of 2018. It's got one of the most solid premises in gaming to date. You play as Lola and Milo, 2 college students who are about to graduate, and you're at a college party, and some people are like, hey, drink, let's have this, let's dance, let's do whatever. And during your actions of that night, you wake up in hell.
Do you know what happens?
You don't.
It's definitely drinking. You definitely drank
Well,
yourself
no,
to death,
because
right?
I think at first I feel like that's what they want you to think.
Oh.
But the way the game is kind of shaping makes you feel as if like that whole party may not even have been a party.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's like within the first 5 minutes they kind of hint at that, which is wonderful. Because I did that party and I was actually kind of responsible with my drinking. I'm sorry. It's ingrained in me, Mom. You trained me well. She doesn't want me to drink at all.
That's okay. She doesn't listen.
No, she wouldn't get this far in the podcast if she did. So like I was actually pretty tepid with my drinking, and then I still woke up in hell, and I was like, hey, I didn't overdo it. I was actually being pretty good. Because there is a designated button just to drink, which is wonderful. And then your quest is actually trying to figure out how you died.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay. And how you can get out of hell. And that is the premise, is that you quickly figure out the way to get out of hell is to outdrink the devil in a drinking game, and then he'll give you a passage out. And it's only happened every few thousands of years. This game is delightfully charming. Its version of hell is so casual and cool and yet horrible at the same time.
Yeah.
So it has that kind of Monsters Inc. vibe where it's like, hey, this is the processing unit of where you get to dreams. This is who's in charge of your dreams and your nightmares, it kind of takes that look at hell. Like you're assigned a personal demon. Okay. And you go through a for real questionnaire, and and then based on your answers as Milo and Lola, a personal demon is assigned to you, which will show up very inconveniently, just kind of annoy you. And it's really earnest at its job. It's like, hi, my name is, a Thornworm or Thornwort, and I'm your personal demon, and let's talk about your childhood. So it's really delightful, and it's comedy. It's really fun. It is a talkie game, so you're not doing a whole lot. You are walking from point A to point B, engaging in dialogue options, kind of like Oxenfree was as well, and just kind of trying to see where this all will lead you. And I'm about halfway through it right now.
It's like a point and click, right?
Not even. No.
It's like less than a point and click.
Yeah, it's less than a point and click because you're not solving puzzles.
Okay.
You're not you're not collecting items. You're really just walking from one scenario to the next, and your choices are what's changing the story or the flavor of the story.
So it's kind of like almost like a visual novel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the hook is the drinking. There's lots of bars in hell. All the drinks are free. And they're all like horrible names, like genocide, mojitos and stuff.
Oh goodness.
Or just like IRS form, neat or whatever. Yeah. And your drink gives you more options when you talk in dialogue. You usually get 2 options. And depending on what drink you get depends on what your third option of dialogue will be. So one drink may give you liquid courage. So when you're talking in the next scenario, you'll have like, hey, I want to do this, or I don't do this, or like, why are you doing this? And the why you're doing this will only happen if you take a swig before you talk.
Okay.
You get that third option. And depending on what you drink depends on the option. I played I played Pong. No, is it drinking Pong? What is that called? You can tell I didn't do
beer
this.
pong?
It is beer pong, but without beer, I guess. Whatever it is.
Sure.
The cups and the ping pong ball and whatever.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't go to many parties in college. So you play one of those, and so I decided to drink the flirty drink.
Oh.
So that while we were playing beer pong, I would throw out like, hey, those biceps are looking really good, man. And then he would mess up his throw or something. So depending on your drink depends on some of the outcomes or how you can influence your choices. And that has been fascinating because now you have 4 different ways you could approach a situation. You could be flirty, or if you get the witty asshole drink, if you get the smug rich guy drink, there's many different options you can get to the psychopath. There's a psychopath drink. I don't even know what could happen if I were to have those ones
the whole
as well.
point.
Exactly.
That's the whole
So
point.
I get the feeling this is made to replay and to see how you can influence things. So great game so far. The only caveat I would say that is kind of about it is there's a lot of space to explore, but because it's so linear, I end up running places and then there's just no reason to run there yet. So there's a lot of missed time that I'm having where I'm thinking it's a point and click, and let me see what's over here, and then it's nothing. No. Something cool to look at.
That game.
Something cool to look at. But obviously, I'm gonna have to come back here later when I'm supposed to, and I've just been doing that a lot, so I haven't been getting as far as I would like in the game. Yeah. But now that I know that, I'm just kind of streamlining the plot, and it's been delightful. The devil is hilarious. Satan, Lucifer, the dragon. He's fantastic.
Nice.
He's just someone who's he has a job too. He just wants to party. Too much responsibility. But yeah. It's good. $20 on everything right now.
Yeah.
So
is it on Switch?
Not yet, actually. Okay. I think it's going to be brought to Switch very soon.
It seems like a good Switch game.
Yeah. It was on sale for Christmas. It probably still is for holidays.
Probably, yeah.
So I would pick it up if you can.
Agreed. All right, that's it done. And then finally, Joe.
I decided, as I stated earlier, that I was not going to buy myself a new game this week, and I decided to pick Pokemon back up. And
I've heard of this Pokemon.
This Pokemon game, it is. I was in the second wild area the last time I played, and I was really just running around.
I don't know why you even call this game Pokemon. You should just call it the Wild Area and Joe.
That's all I do.
Joe's Wild Time.
This is me wilding out, guys. It's crazy. I decided I was going to continually go back to the lady who has my Ponyta and a Ditto, and I was just going to hatch eggs and then surprise trade Ponytas. That's all I do with my time. So I'll take my bike, I'll ride all the way down to one end, and by the time I'm done with one end, it's hatched, and then I'll surprise trade it. And then I'll ride my bike all the way back to the lady who hatches the eggs, get another egg, and then ride all the way back. And I've only done 3 gyms, so I can't really catch almost any of the things in that area.
Joe, I feel like you know how to play Pokemon the best. I hear everyone else talking about all the badges they get. They beat Shield and Sword, and they get really into the breeding, and they're really like hardcore. You're having the greatest time, just this entrepreneurial Pokemon hippie.
I camp a lot. I'm so into the curry recipes.
You're such a hippie. Hey, try my curry. You want to ride my Ponyta?
Dude, it's like 4-star curry.
Do you want a free Farfetch'd?
I got it all.
I got to go to this tournament. You're like, nah, stay in the wild area. What's the rush? Slow down. Drink in the insert grass Pokemon type.
Whatever. It's all good.
You want to try this grass Pokemon type? It's real good.
It's about catching the sights, not the Pokemon, man.
Don't be like a Weezing. Come on.
I turned my Applin into a bong. You want to hit?
That's what my Pokemon person would probably do. But I actually, and I found something cool that I didn't get to do because I was playing Dr. Mario the week of Christmas, but they apparently had like a cool event. There was a Dynamax.
Man, don't tell me that.
There's been 2 events actually in the game.
Oh,
one of them I was able to play, but I wasn't able to catch the Dynamax Pokemon. But one of the customers that comes in, he was like, "Hey, have you caught that new Snorlax?" I'm like, "Yeah, the one that's on the bridge. I can't catch him yet. He's like a level like 50 something." I'm like, "I can only catch up to level 30 somethings." And he goes, "No, the one that has the berry tree on it." I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, you didn't play the week of Christmas? There's a really cool thing that they were doing. There was a Dynamax Snorlax in the game, and all you had to do was update your wild area news or whatever it was, and then when you go out, the Dynamax Pokemon, the beam of light would pop up. You go over to the beam of light, you go in there, and it was a Snorlax that had a berry tree on its tummy.
Aww.
Because it was so tired and so lazy that it was like, I don't have to get up for food. I'm just gonna let the berry tree grow on my tummy. And I thought that was horrifying sounding, yet really funny all at the same time.
Eating his belly button lint?
It's a tree. No, it grew.
He's a hero.
That tree. Yeah, he's a hero to other Snorlaxes, that's for sure. He doesn't have to move.
Can you eat the berries off of the Snorlax?
I don't know. I didn't get
tree?
one. I don't want to, I think.
He sounds like he'd be really good at camping.
Right? That's so I missed out on getting that Dynamax. And there was a Magikarp event, apparently, that also had like I guess the chances to get a shiny Magikarp were really, really high with the Dynamax ones.
Yeah.
So like my friend that was telling me about it, he was like, "You really need to update your thing." I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go back to that game, but it's just gonna take all my time again." And then all I'm gonna want to do is make more Surfetch just so I can surprise trade them. And surprise trading has been pimp lately. There were Pokemon, I don't even know what the hell they are, but they are really crazy looking.
Those Pokemon don't know what the hell they are either.
Oh man, they're some weird looking Pokemon.
Am I a bong?
Yeah, they say their name, but it's always questioning.
I don't blame them. They look pretty crazy. But I've gotten a lot of weird Pokemon I didn't even know existed. So I was very like, here, enjoy this Ponyta, enjoy this Surfetched. I'll take. What are you? What is that? Is that like a? One of them looks like a kid drew like a stone monster, and then took the paper. You cut out the pieces of paper and then made little flaps so that its hands are sticking out. It looks like a paper toy, like a paper doll, but it's like a stone monster. I don't even know what it is, man.
What messed me up is later in the game you get bits of fossils, which you've gotten in Pokemon games before.
Yeah.
But you get a top fossil and a bottom fossil, and then you bring them to a lady, and then she makes you a Pokemon. But it's like half of one half of a Pokemon with another half of a Pokemon. They're monstrous.
Oh, I don't want that.
They're like strange Golem things.
I am not about that life.
I am not about. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not talking to that lady.
That is still not as unsettling as belly berries to me.
You're welcome for that.
Oh gosh.
See, but I want him though. I want that Snorlax. I feel like that
hear you.
Snorlax is probably the most relaxed Snorlax ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to walk. It doesn't have to do anything. It just sits there and eats berries growing out of its tummy.
He's like, is that more curry?
Right? Is there any more curry? Because I'll wake up for curry.
Yeah.
I'll stretch my arm out, eat some of that curry.
He is snore relaxing.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I get the name now. Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
I couldn't figure it out before.
I didn't think anybody could.
Well, here we are. We're in a new era.
I think it's from him sleeping and relaxing.
Oh, well, you're going too fast, man. Slow down.
I know.
2020. I got to take it slow. Pump the brakes.
It's a weird year.
But all in all, I think tonight I am going to go to whatever area it starts with an H or something. They're the 4th gym area.
Halifax?
Halifax? That sounds right. I really wanted to say Hathorn, but I know that's Drew's news.
That's just a city in Canada.
There we go. Halifax. I'm going to Canada tonight in Pokemon. I really don't know what the heck. I don't remember what it's called. But by next week, I think I'm going to get that 4th gym badge just so I can catch some of the weird looking things that are running around. Because there's a lot of level 40 whatevers. And I just want to throw a Pokeball and catch one. I don't need a lot of them.
What about catch them all?
I don't really need to do that.
That's why you have the right mentality. We've all been ingrained to catch them all, but that's just stress.
Well, it is. Yeah. You know what? I'll find it when I find it, and it's okay. They don't want to be friends with me. I will surprise trade it. It's fine.
Are inspirational. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, if you never want to finish a game.
There are better things.
Right?
That's not your resolution. That's Brian's.
I was about to say, I can't do that.
That's Brian's problem, not mine.
Oh, God.
This Pokemon game is saving me from buying another game. That's my resolution.
You're right. This game is counterproductive to both of us. Or counterproductive to me, productive for
productive
you.
for me, though.
All right. Sounds like a marriage to me. So, all right, that'll do it for our games this week. And now that brings us to our news segment.
News.
Yeah, I'll choose you, news. I choose news. Starting off, the PS5 logo was released, and the date of fall 2020 or winter 2020 was given. Shock. PS5.
Yeah, it's so basic,
Yeah.
but why was I so excited?
Same.
When my heart started beating, I started sweating a little bit. I tweeted it immediately. It was just like a photoshopped version of the PS4.
Yeah. It was definitely like you saw it and it took you a minute to be like, oh, that's a 5. That's a 5, guys.
I'm just excited it's happening. I'm a sucker for you.
I mean, I'm going to buy it.
Your name is PlayStation.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. I'm going to buy it.
Buy one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to buy 2 PS5s this
We're
coming
gonna be
up
broke.
year. Oh, man.
We'll probably get one. And then once they have like the PS5 Pro, we'll get that one. That way we'll have the 2.
Oh, but we might have to buy an Xbox.
We have to figure out what to do with Xbox.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Between all of us.
Is there going to be a Naruto game for the Xbox? I will be buying the Xbox then.
If it's for the Xbox, it's probably also for the PC. So
I'm not playing on the computer.
Yeah, I know.
I don't have time for that. All computers mean to me is editing.
That's also fair. And then also the Game Developers Choice Awards and Independent Games Festival Awards finalists have been announced that are going to be giving away on March 18th, one right after the other. Just not like for the ones that got the most amount of awards or more award nominees was for the games. One was Control, Death Stranding.
That's a great game.
And Outer Wilds.
Also a great game.
All of them had 5 each. So they each had 5 nominations, which was pretty cool.
Do you think Outer Worlds is upset that they didn't get any nominations, but Outer Wilds did?
Outer Worlds got like a couple. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Like Outer Wilds is like, this is just this, not like no name, but it was their very first game.
Oh, yeah.
So, which is actually one of the nominations. It's best debut game.
As well it should be.
As it should be, exactly. And yeah, it's like this one thing. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Why do they have so many award nominations? Like, damn it.
Does Death Stranding count as a first game?
Technically.
No. Debut
company.
game?
Yeah.
No, because it's still the same studio. It's just a different publisher.
It's a different
It's
studio.
a different studio.
It's still Konami Productions.
That's the
Kojima?
first thing that he's done.
Or Kojima, Kojima. But they were also Kojima Productions before. They just split.
Oh, I thought this was his first actual game, like
Independently, yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
But it's still publisher versus developer is 2 different things.
I mean,
that's
he's
fair.
For all intents and purposes, he is a AAA
Fair
studio
enough.
himself.
Fair enough. That's true. I think the other ones for the best debut were Disco Elysium,
Awesome game.
Manifold Garden.
What is that?
That's a phone game. So
It makes me so sad and happy when someone praises a game that I've never heard of. I'm happy that there's this new game for me to play. I'm also sad that I have never heard of it until now.
next one you have heard of and you've played, Knights and Bikes.
Oh, heck yeah. We got to finish that.
I want to ride my bike.
And then Neocab was the last one. That one I also haven't heard of.
Yeah, that's on my list next. I'm kind of catching up on all the little things I missed last year.
Nice.
And that is on the list.
Yeah. And then for the independent awards, it was think the one who got the most was Mutazione. I'm going to go with that's what it's pronounced like because, this is our podcast. But the ones that for grand prize was Elysia, A Short Hike, which is a very cute game if you haven't seen it before, Untitled Goose Game, Metazione, Slay the Spire, and Anodyne 2, Return to Dust. Slay the Spire will
win.
Is great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the most game of games.
It is. It's so polished as well. But yeah, those are just fun little things.
All right. And when will we see the results of this?
March 18th. It'll be.
That's so far.
I know.
Better be an awesome show.
They're giving people time to finish them.
Yeah.
Can we watch it together if it's a thing?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
They're going to live stream it
March
because
18th.
it's the IGF is first, which is the Independent Games Festival.
Okay.
And then immediately following that is the game developers.
Let's watch it. You know what, audience? Watch along with us.
Yeah.
We'll be a nice venue by then for you too. I'm making promises, y'all.
Making all the promises. And now following up that amazing news is we got some more amazing news. We got some stamp news right there, Amanda.
This made me happier than it should have. It is the silliest news I have seen in a while. Is the UK, the United Kingdom, the country of the UK, has released video game stamps.
So cool.
And they're going to have Tomb Raider, Lemmings, Wipeout, and a mixture of other kind of classic video game images. And they're for real stamps. Like, you can get them. You can order them online. They're not for sale, I think, till January 19th. But if you're interested in some dope stamps, they are available for pre-order, and they will ship them to the U.S. So you can have your very own, very legal stamps with old-fashioned video games on them.
This is the best argument I found to want mail again. I am like fully digital, but like...
They sell digital stamps.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, all right. Wait, what? Why do you need a digital stamp?
If you want to collect stamps, but you don't want to damage the environment.
For collection purposes, sure.
It's just a GIF.
Yeah. I want to use mine. I like using things.
You're not going to be able to use them here because they're in England only.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
So, I mean, they're legal.
Can I mail it to England?
No, we would have to use our postage here.
All right, so I'll fly to England.
Yeah. No,
Get a ticket.
Have your cousin mail you a letter.
There we go. Yeah. I have some cousins in England.
There you go.
I'm going to make this happen.
Or you know what you could do? You can mail them a letter with the letter inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Already stamped.
And paid for.
And paid for.
I'll
Then
pay
they
for
just
the stamp.
they just come back.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm sure that will not get convoluted or lost. Or
Not at all.
We won't forget as soon as this podcast is over.
Not at all.
I'm not going to.
And then on over on Twitch, like I was talking about earlier, Escape from Tarkov. I was watching some streamers on there. But the game blew up on Twitch over like the New Year period. And that was because they were having a Twitch drop event so that if you're watching streamers playing it, you could get in-game items inside the game.
Cool.
That's cool.
So
I love that.
So I think like at one point over 260,000 people were watching people play Escape from Tarkov. So a lot of the established streamers that were just playing the game like blew up. One of them went from having maybe 1,500 watchers to having at one point over 100,000 people watching him.
Wow.
Yikes.
And a lot of other big time streamers, because of this event and seeing it blow up, also started playing the game. Which caused, more people to play it. So like Dr. Disrespect was playing it. Dr. Lupo was playing. All the doctors were playing it.
I'm so sad I don't know more about Dr. Disrespect.
I don't like him, but a lot of people do.
Wow, you disrespected him.
I think Shroud was playing it. Like
I know Shroud.
There you go. See, like I knew you knew him. So, but all these streamers, all the big time ones, were starting to play them as well. So it just kind of had like a snowball effect.
Nice.
And and I think even as of right now, it's not. Now that the drop event is over, people are still seeing way larger numbers than they were seeing before for this game.
Cool.
So good for them. And as Amanda was saying earlier, they're not going to put females models in the game because of a lot of stupid to begin with, a lot of stupid reasons. But then they're like, I mean, it is going to be really difficult to remodel all of our stuff for a female model. But
not cool.
That's
So
going to be like that can be like 0.98.
They put a lot of work into the game, and
Yeah.
one of the things that the gamer audience wanted is like, oh, can you play as a female character? And they were like, no, because it doesn't work with the fiction of the game. And then after they said that, people were like, what?
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, it's also really hard to create new character models and then make them look realistic and good, so we're just not going to.
And hey, it's his perfect game.
Right.
You know, it's who am I to say what he thinks is perfect?
Yeah.
I can have an opinion,
Just
but
not women.
That's his world.
Not women.
That's his world.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to like come up with like in lore type stuff of why, and they
To
just
justify it.
and they was just like, nah, it's just production.
He's like, I just don't want to do more work.
Yeah.
Not every game has to have a lady in it, but the idea of there being like 300 NPCs and 50 players, and it's like they're all men. All of them are men. There are no women in the whole world. There are no women in Russia. That's the name of the world. The game.
What's
no
going
women
to happen
in
is
Russia.
going to be the Smurf thing. He's going to add one woman. It's going to be kind of inconsequential and sad.
What's worse is if the game has no women, or if they put women in the game, but then they just do like the bare minimum, and it's just like clearly a man with just women like frame on top of it.
I don't know if I can answer that.
Yeah.
So they like Zarya it?
Or just I've definitely seen video games before where they clearly took a female model and just put it on everything that they already did for like the male model.
Yeah,
and then they
yeah.
walk like a guy, even though they have like a woman's frame.
It's almost
and
like why put that in there if you're not going to put in the time to really put a woman in there?
Yeah. Agreed.
But then again, like, do I want no women in there? It's,
what's worse?
I don't know. It's a good tasty topic for another day.
I'll write that down.
There you go. And then also speaking of streamers, lots of streamers have raised money for Australia. One of them was actually, I think they raised over $220 US, $220,000 US.
Wow.
Over I think a 36-hour period.
Hey, in case the audience doesn't know, Australia on fire, yo.
Very on fire.
It's really sad.
Yeah. So and a lot of them were also Australian streamers as well. So I think one of the one I was just talking about that raised $220,000 US, which is over I think 300 Australian dollars, or 300,000 Australian dollars, is like they were just doing like a 12-hour event. Like, hey, we're hoping to raise like 15,000 Australian dollars, and they surpassed that within I think it was like 30 minutes because a whole bunch of other larger streamers started donating and then also hosting
beautiful.
them.
Yeah.
So
See,
like So I was just gonna say the one I was talking about, the Escape from Tarkov guy. He's actually Australian, and he had 102,000 viewers at the time, and he hosted them. Great. So all of these people who didn't know about it just filtered right into them.
See, that's the beautiful stuff about gaming. Like this past week has been really rough for me to game with everything that's been going on this week. And at one point, it's like, do I even want to play a video game? I just want to crawl up and read things and help something. But then, there is an importance, I think, to play and a power in it. So I think that is a good example of the power of play.
Agreed.
Is being able to help out. So, yeah, video games are all right, even in the tough times.
Yeah. And then if you didn't have time to play games, well, a lot of other people did this week because Awesome Games Done Quick was this week. And if you wanted
they had time to do it better than you.
way faster. But yeah, it was this week / last week if you're listening to this when it releases. And a whole lot of money was raised. A whole lot of games were played. Like Outer Worlds. The
Not
game
to be
that you're
confused with
playing,
Outer Wilds.
which I just did. Outer Worlds was actually completed in 25 minutes.
Oh, I am well beyond
that's dumb. I can't. I mean, it's a good dumb, but that's dumb.
You know, I could see it if you just didn't read anything or do anything, and you knew exactly every dialogue choice, and you were just like this.
What they were doing was, because I watched it, and what they were doing was just dumb. Like he was saying, just dumb. Like one
Are
of
there
the
glitches that they're
exposing?
exposing?
They're utilizing glitches. They're utilizing
because
everything.
you can beat Link to the Past in 2 seconds. So it's because you find a hole that you fall into that brings you to the last level.
Yeah. And so
which is cool.
Yeah, and the way that they, and it's not that that they complete it quickly. It's that they're explaining what they're doing while they're doing it, or right before they do it.
Really, that's awesome.
Yeah, like one of them, Tomato Angus, who we talked about
Not
last
to be
year,
confused with Tomato Anus.
who is the same person, but he's different on stream because they can't put anus on. Anus thing is
They
not
hate
possible
us because they Angus.
but he did a Fallout 1 through 4 mainline run. And I think it was 3 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 30 minutes. But he one of the glitches, he actually brought out a prop to explain the glitch, how it works. And it was like made of like a red Solo cup and like 2 pieces of cardboard and stuff like that. And he was explaining it during a cutscene. He's like, it's going to take me longer to explain how this works than it is for me to actually do it. So he like brings it out. But yeah, that was fun to watch. They did a Final Fantasy VIII run overnight in like 9 hours.
That's crazy.
So, which is mostly just cutscenes because you can't skip them.
Right. Oh, right.
So you're just watching the movie.
You're just watching the movie.
Well done.
Which is actually what the Final Fantasy X one is as well. The Final Fantasy X, I think, is 10 hours, of which I think 7 of those hours is cutscenes.
Wow.
Because you can't skip them. But yeah, if you haven't watched AGDQ before or a Games Done Quick, you should. It's twice a year. This one was now or last week. The next one I think is coming up in the summer and the fall, and I think Minnesota is where they do it. So yeah, really fun though. Look them up if you want to see any of those runs. They're a lot of fun. And then the last bit of news is we got some Anthem news, right, Manda?
Yes, I was very excited about this. We talked about this, I think, I don't know, like 6 or 7 episodes ago when we were all very excited and playing the brand new Anthem. The game was not perfect. And we thought at the time that it was very sad that EA wasn't going to put any more resources into it. But it turns out that we were wrong, that instead EA is actually putting people into the game to fix some of what kind of broke. We don't really know what it's going to look like when it's done or how they're going to roll it out. But we heard that there's probably going to be 1 or 2 options. Either they're going to go in and fix everything and then release it all at once, kind of very Destiny Taken King, where it's like, hey, we heard all of your feedback, we made all of the fixes, and this is what you actually wanted. Or they're going to make iterative changes and release them over several months, which is a little more No Man's Sky-like.
Yeah.
But the silver lining is that they had a almost good game.
That game's bad.
And they realized what was wrong, but I think we all agree that at the core they had something really special, and the idea of them being able to go back in and say like, hey, we're just gonna fix what we have, I think that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, this is the game that I vowed to go back to, so maybe I will hold off for it'll take them like a month or 2 to fix everying.
Oh yeah,
and then I'll be good to go.
It's a great excuse for you, Troy.
Damn it, Brian.
But I'll allow it. It's fine. All right, cool. So that'll do it for our news segment.
You know, Brian, it's the new year, right? And we were talking about resolutions at the top of the podcast.
Yeah.
And you know what? Another resolution that a lot of people have, including myself, is to eat better. You know, we're just trying to look at what we're intaking and make a few choices to try and better the health of ourselves so we can play games for longer in our lives. That's really what it comes down to.
Fair.
So I was wondering if you all had any suggestions, or what are some like good, like healthy hot pots or something that I could partake in.
Like some crunchy carrots?
I like crunchy carrots, yeah, but I don't know if that's going to be filling enough. I may need something more than that.
Some salty soup.
Some salty soup. I love salt soup.
That is a thing.
My favorite type of soup. Salt.
Some lickable lemons.
Oh wow, I like a lickable lemon, but I don't like to lick it too much. It's a lickable lime. Give it to me all day. I can lick that lime like it's nobody's business.
Although those are too bitter.
Too bitter?
Yeah.
Well, then this wouldn't work for you. I need something else that would kind of work for all of us, I think. I'm not just thinking about me here.
No.
I'm thinking about you all too.
Mushy melons.
Mushy melons. Ew.
Some fresh fruit.
Yeah.
Some fresh fruit. Put that on the list. I'm making a shopping list. Fresh fruit, lickable limes. I don't know what the first one you said was. I forget, but I'm going to put that on there
crunchy
too.
Carrots.
Crunchy carrots.
Yeah.
I don't know, Joe. What else can I get that's like
It
healthy?
just sounds like you need something that might be kind of tasty.
I would love if it was tasty. That would make it so much easier to eat.
It does sound like
But
it would be.
It's got to be something that's like healthy and robust, and that I can, really chew
Something
on.
that rises to the top.
You want to sink your teeth into it, yeah.
And you would just pick that one right out.
Oh, you could almost say it would be the top pick.
It would be the top pick.
Yeah.
Ooh, but what if we could make that tasty, though? What would that be called?
Tasty topic.
Ooh!
I don't know how it's possible that we make these dumber and dumber, but
Oh, I had a dumber one. I'm really glad Joe chose that one because that was way better than what I was going to say next.
I feel like that one had the more through line than some of them did,
nice.
though. That had a good plot.
It was. This week's
Tasty Topics is our chance to take a news article or just something that we've been thinking about and kind of delve into it a little deeper within the four of us here at Taste of Dragon. So, Tasty Topic
is you, Manda, correct?
yes, in the same theme as the kind of Anthem next, as I kind of wanted us to talk a bit about the games that we liked that were not necessarily perfect. So if you could go back in time and you could take a game that was almost there but not quite, and then you could give it the glow
or
up.
that
if
was
you
just
could-
bad. And
Or
you,
just
but you
that,
knew there was
just-
something good there.
Yes, yes. And give it like a little blow dry, a little wash and dry.
I thought that was going somewhere else.
Give it a makeover, buy it a new outfit, send it to the gym, whatever it takes. Just like, if you could take something that was almost there or not quite there, and then just give it that little extra
Give
nudge.
them the reality show home makeover thing.
Yes.
Whatever that show is called.
What game would that be? For me personally, I think it would be Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh,
Because there were so many pieces of that were so excellent, and I just overall it just kind of was meh. And I think if they had gone back and just tweaked some of the characters, maybe if I spent more time with them, or they gave me different aspects of their personality.
How would you want them to be different? I guess by tweak. What do you mean?
I think if they just workshopped it a little bit, there were some characters that I didn't just care about. I don't know if
So like flesh out the writing or the characters more. Like what about I guess the characters would you want to see more of that would make it more engaging?
I spent time with them when I was on the boat, but I just didn't care about any of their stories. I don't know if it was how they introduced it to me, if I just wasn't inspired by the little tidbit of information that I got, or if it was just that that their personalities didn't mesh very much with the theme of the game.
Narrative speaking,
Yes.
you would like.
And I don't necessarily think that their modeling was bad or the direction that they went with them was bad. I just wish they spent just a little more time getting the hooks in.
Right.
Especially early on.
Because who doesn't want like a space adventure?
Right, right. And it was really the crew that was lacking. And it isn't that they were bad. It was mostly that they just didn't hold up in comparison to the other Mass Effects.
And I think from what I saw played of it, what I would have wanted for that game was for it to break out a little more from the other series, because I felt like they used a lot of like the same aliens and the same structures, and it for something that took place like millions of universes away from the original, they all were the same.
No, they weren't. They didn't bring all of the species over. There was another ship who didn't make it yet, but is still on its way, that had most of the aliens. So it was just like 4 made aliens and then 1 new one. And it was just like, we went all the way over here and there's only 1 new species.
Yeah.
I get it, it's game and modeling, but I think with just a little tweak, it could have been perfect.
Okay. Yeah, because like the people on the ground that you spoke with for like 3 seconds had way better stories than your entire crew.
That sucks. And Mass Effect is known for its strong side characters,
Exactly.
Yes.
companions,
Yeah.
friends, or acquaintances in Mandy's case.
They might be friends, just not yet. I got high standards.
Yeah, there's no Jack from like Mass Effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the tattoo chick who's awesome.
Yeah.
Who has a great overarching story.
Oh, everyone in that game
Yeah.
had a great story. Varys or whatever his name was, Thord. It has been a while.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The
I
yellow
got you.
guy.
Yeah.
I was like, Varric is Dragon Age.
Oh,
And-
I thought there was a Varys.
Oh, were you talking
There's
about the
Garrus.
scientist? Oh, Gareth is the...
Gareth.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking of.
Are you talking about the scientist?
Yeah,
Morden?
Morden.
Yeah,
Solus Morden.
Yeah.
Oh, Morden. I will never be happy again.
His first name is Solus.
His first name is Solus.
Whoa, Dragon Age reference.
Sorry, we went on a tangent.
We did.
Back to the topic.
Same company.
All right, but Mass Effect. All right, that's
Yeah.
a good choice. For me, it's also space themed. It's Star Wars Galaxies, which is
yeah.
the MMO from early 2000s
Oh, this
to
one
mid
just
2000s.
makes me go aw every time.
Yeah, that one was for me. That was basically there. They had a phenomenal. I think probably the best, still currently, crafting system in an MMO. The best, like how to get materials. The best, like. Ways to like job out your character. You could choose all these
The
different
stories seemed
specialties.
great, too.
The stories wasn't terrible, but
Okay.
like everything else around it was just so good. I would go back and I would just not introduce Jedis into it.
Interesting.
Jedis is actually what I think killed it, because you had all these people and they're all just doing regular normal stuff. You could be a bioengineer, you could be a smuggler, or you can be both of them at the same time because you could spec yourself that way. And then they introduced a Jedi mechanic, which they had like talked about before. If you did like whatever, certain people would be able to become Jedi, and then once they actually like properly introduced it, because they didn't actually put it in until like several months later, even though they said it was already in. Once they introduced that, all the game became was, all right, everybody become a Jedi. And then it was just like, all right, but like Jedi in this game, the Jedi are not the most interesting things. It's that, it's the armors, the weapons, it's all these other people.
Yeah.
So that for me is what I think.
So Star Wars ruined Star Wars.
Yes,
agreed. Because they had to put Jedis in eventually. Like it's inevitable.
Yeah,
or they didn't have to make them playable.
That's true.
Because that's the whole point, is that they're supposed to like 1 in a million people as a Jedi.
I feel like people would have wanted it so badly they would have added it eventually, because everyone wants to be the first with a lightsaber, and then they get it and they realize this wasn't as good, but then it's too late.
This is a good example of sometimes you have to give your audience what they need and not what they want.
Correct.
Oh,
snap.
Fascism.
Yeah, but that's what I would do. I would go back there
Amanda the dictator
and just tweak just tweak a couple of things. It wouldn't even be all that much. That's what I would go back.
I remember every time I would see a trailer for that game, I'd be like, "Oh, what's this cool Star Wars game?" And then at the end of the cinematic, it's like the MMO, and I'm like, "Oh," because I know it was kind of a middling experience. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be because of some of the shortcomings.
Yeah. I played day one. It was probably, I think, my best day one experience on an MMO ever.
That's exciting. That's another tasty topic.
That's another tasty topic.
I'm sad I didn't play
Somebody write these down.
But yeah, Star Wars Galaxies. That's mine.
Right on.
How about you, Joe?
This is a very difficult choice.
Okay.
And so I immediately went to Pac-Man World Championship, the new one, and I would prefer it to be like the last one, but I feel like that's not like a glow up. That's not making it better. That's just making it a totally different game. Like, okay, cool. So slate, off the slate.
Okay.
Then I went to like Bomberman, and I was like, yeah, the one for the Switch. I was super miserable playing that thing. I played that for like 20 minutes, and I was angry because it wasn't the classic Bomberman. There was no classic mode. It was a 3D, ridiculous, very silly version of Bomberman. You know what? Again, I'm just asking it to be an old game. Take it off the list. And then I realized I think the crown jewel of all the games that I ever wished were better for the PlayStation, there was a Danger Girl game. I loved the comic book Danger Girl by J. Scott Campbell and Andy Harnell. And I only bought that game because I was told that some of the story they took 3.5 years to finish was in that game.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I'll totally buy this game. It was like $40 at the time, which was a lot of money for high school me. And I was like, I'm going to buy this game, and I'm going to play the crap out of this game. I'm going to have so much fun.
Hell yeah.
And they made a new character. She had a giant wrench.
Oh,
it was really cool. The style of the game is fun. And Andy Harnell is an amazing writer. Like Danger Girl's a great, if you don't read that comic, you really should. It's fantastic. Side note.
What went wrong? Sorry, go ahead.
Side note with the comic, my favorite thing they've ever done, instead of calling it Magic the Gathering in the book series as a guy, they call it Enchantment the Congregating. So for me, like a good pun like that, Enchantment the Congregating, you can have all the money in the world. So I was expecting the game to be like Andy Harnell's writing, like J. Scott Campbell's looks of things. It not only did not look the way it probably should have for the time it had come out for. It was too ambitious to have characters look like that.
Yeah.
And then secondary, the gameplay was awful. I was expecting to just play Tomb Raider. Like, it's just like scantily clad ladies. Like, one of them's got a whip, one of them uses knives, one of them's got a gun, this lady's got a giant wrench. Do you want to be the smart chick with the computer? And then there's like 3 guys in the game. And
so did you find it didn't really faithfully recreate
it didn't
what
recreate
you felt
anything
in the comic book?
It didn't go along with the comics, so the narrative was off. It didn't have any extra stuff in it, so like completely not
that's what they need to change. They need to
they
have
need
someone
to change the whole
who's
game.
a fan of the comic books for realsies.
But it was written by the guy that did the comic. That's the real problem.
Well, was the story fine?
So like, no, it was just terrible. Every part of this game, the mechanics were bad. You weren't playing like I said. I was assuming it would be like Tomb Raider, or it would be like just any kind of game where you're partially
running around,
run and gun,
stuff, jumping over things.
Right.
So the idea was good, but everything in the execution was
the
bad.
whole thing was bad. The game didn't even work right. It and half the time it froze up weirdly, like it was like literally developed wrong. Like just everything. I was so disappointed that I think after about 3 hours of trying to get out of the first 3 zones, like I think I spent about an hour in each zone. Just I want to look at everything, and It was terrible.
Ugh.
So I would totally make somebody like give that the new Tomb Raider, like Crystal Dynamics, take Danger Girl and go make that cool. Because that's what I want. I want a cool Danger Girl game because they're really fun characters and their designs are fun and the story, the world they live in is full of puns. And it's just
Crystal
great.
Dynamics would rock that.
Right?
They would.
So
I agree.
the winner for me is Danger Girl. I wish that game was better.
All right. And then Troy.
Yeah, I feel so bad for this game. Yeah, the game that I would think that just kind of like dropped the ball, kind of sucks, really could have done better, is The Witcher 3. I mean, what a POS. I mean, what were they thinking? Just a smiling pile. A smiling pile. A smelling pile that smiles at you. Ugh.
As it wafts its smell at you.
Yeah, what a bad game. I'm lying. That's one of the best games ever made. The game I would look at is Days Gone. It came out last year. That game, unfortunately, it had a lot of negative parts of it. It had a really shallow systems with customizable options and management of weapons and all of that. The pacing was really shallow with the amount of things that happened in the world. Didn't feel very lived in. And like the connection to the story and the writers or the writing to the characters just didn't quite click all the time. So it ended up being kind of a generic game, unfortunately. But I still remember those awesome moments where because it's an open world zombie game, and that hasn't really been done like in this arcade way before. And so I remember have moments of like creeping up over a hill and the moonlight is there, and then one single zombie comes over it, and I just watch it and I hear it crackling, and then I'm just like, that's beautiful. And I kind of get up towards it to then look over and see there's just hundreds more behind it. Like, that's an amazing moment that just happens, you know? The way that they did their horde system of trying to kind of, mousetrap, Home Alone style your way through defeating hordes by setting traps in areas and then instigating a horde to come after you and having them fall into things and blow up and fire. Like, that was so much fun. The bike was really fun to ride once you got enough upgrades to it. Like, there were so many really robust, lovely parts of this game that it was just kind of trapped within probably a long development cycle that was just kind of hard to get through, and definitely a marketing scheme that kind of oversold it too early. And so I wish that, or not even that I wish, what I feel like that game did well enough to get a sequel. And I'm hoping that they've taken this first game, a lot like the first Assassin's Creed, which was also a little shallow and repetitive. Yeah. And this next game they make will be just really, really robust and lovely.
Really hit the mark.
Zombies is a tired trope. I get it. And I was over zombies when I went into that game, and by the end of it, you kind of got me back into zombies, which is saying a lot because I was done with zombies. And now I'm into the character. Now that I'm into zombies, by the end of that game, I was into the main character, Deacon St. John. Such a dumb name.
I didn't realize his name was St. John was his last name. So there were times where he'd be like, tell him St. John sent you. And I thought he was just so pretentious that his name was John. And he's like, tell him St. John sent you. And I was like, oh, I hate this guy. And Troy's like, that's his last name. Never mind. I retract my name.
Yeah. If they can clean some of that stuff up and some of the dialogue stuff that's very, very much just not well written. Then I think that it could be a really great experience all around for everybody.
Yeah. Like maybe he took his wife's last name, and besides it said the other way around.
She says one line when they get married where she's just like, when it's like, I do. Instead, she's like, and now I want you to ride me like your motorcycle. And it's just so gross. And I'm like, who wrote this woman to say this? And I'm like, this is weird.
It was a boy. It was definitely a boy.
I don't want to presume because I don't know. But yeah, it sounds like that. So I feel like that game could be really special.
Yeah. You're right. Because I saw that when they did the zombie horde system, like 3 EAs before, or right. E3s before it came out, and I was like, wow, it's like they're flowing like water, right? And it was really interesting the way that they were going through the train tracks and through train cars and everything. I was like, holy crap! Yeah, and then that was the only thing that they kept from that.
Yeah. But if you think about it, they had to balance all of that story and dynamics with the new systems they were building, and hopefully now that those systems exist, they can just concentrate on the other stuff.
Yeah, it feels like the zombie system is the best tech part of that game, and those hundreds of zombies coming at you it's an amazing experience surviving that and managing that. And I think the story was just kind of made around that frame. So
nice.
I'm for it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, that'll do it for our tasty topic. Now that brings us to our Dragon of the Week.
It's the Dragon of the Week. It'll make you think. It's the Dragon of the Week while you're skating round the rink. Dragon of the Week. Dragon of the Week is our chance to highlight some industry professionals or companies and just talk about the ones that are making the games that we talk about.
Making the games their games.
Yeah.
Gaming the games with games.
Exactly.
Game people.
Yeah, and
Game
this
people.
week's dragon, Troy, you have our dragon this week, right?
That's right. My Dragon of the Week is Meagan Marie.
Ooh.
Yeah, two names. Meagan Marie. She's a games professional, an international cosplayer, a diversity advocate, and much, much more. But I was brought to kind of know about her. I kind of learned about her through her work as an author, and she writes books on gaming.
Okay.
So what happened is recently I was looking at Instagram, as you do, just scrolling.
Of course.
One of those late night scrolls, just to scroll down memory lane. And I came across Siobhan Reddy.
Yeah.
Siobhan Reddy, who was our Dragon of the Week back in our May 26th episode titled "Look at That Asphalt."
Nice.
Check it out. It was a good one.
It was at least a good title.
It was about dreams. So I was on her Instagram and I saw she was getting tagged in a lot of posts during the holiday season, and it was all revolving around this one book that she's featured in called "Women in Gaming: 100 Professionals of Play." And I was like, what is that? And all the posts I saw were people who were getting this book gifted to them over the holidays. And they were just like, yeah, look at me. I got this awesome book. And I was like, I want to be one of those people in that picture being like, yeah, look at this awesome book. So I immediately ordered it. It was like only like $15 or $20 or not even. Yeah.
It was hardcover. It was a
hardcover.
Good book.
Beautiful book. Got it sent to me, and immediately, like 2 days ago, just delved into it, engrossed it. I brought it to the meeting I was at yesterday. I got there a little early, so I was like, perfect. Busted it out of the box and just started diving in. Really awesome book. I'll talk a little bit about it. But it made me think, like here on this podcast with us, Taste of Dragons, we have this segment, where we highlight our industry professionals. And there have been times where I've gone to do research on women in gaming, and I'll type in like women in gaming, and what'll come up a lot of times is like a top 10 article, like mostly top 10 articles. Here are the top 10 women of this year or of this era and whatnot. And you'd have to dig a little deeper to find the rest of the women. And I kept thinking in my head, like, yo, there's more than 10 women in this industry. Like, I want to know about all the others as well.
There's 12.
And then so this is why when I saw this, I was like, boom, here's this book that is filled with bios and essays. They do a special like day in the life feature where instead of an essay or a bio, they just like, hey, you're a very popular streamer. I'm just going to write about what one day of you being a streamer is like. Okay. Go. Like really interesting stuff, interviews, little Easter eggs about their lives and whatnot. In short, it's like everything that I've been wanting is in this book.
Okay.
So I want to take this time to talk about the author, Meagan Marie. She grew up gaming with her family, with her brothers, and would play all the time. But her world kind of turned upside down when Tomb Raider came out. Because her brothers didn't want to play for boy reasons, I presume. And so she felt like, oh, I have like a game like for me. Like, this is my game. I get to play this game. And not only was that really empowering for her, but she also found, Lara Croft as a really powerful role model, a woman who can go out there and adventure, the main character of this game. And it clicked with her in a very special, deep way, what she found in Lara Croft as a role model. So her inspiration to get into the games industry, though, ignited when she was a teenager. She would read tons of Game Informer magazines, and she slowly was feeling like, hey, I think I am more interested in this than I thought I was.
Yeah, I've been informed by games.
Yeah, I am very informed. But she didn't really feel like it would be a thing she could do until one day, as she annotated, she saw the picture of Lisa Mason, who was a writer for Game Informer at that time. Okay. And she finally saw like a woman's face in this magazine, and she was like, I could. Okay, yeah.
She did, so
I could
I
do
can.
this. Yeah, totally. And from then on, she tailored her life to getting hired into Game Informer. When she went to college, she did journalism and computer sciences and just did everything possible to make sure. She even had a sculpture class where she sculpted
Game Informer logos. She just made hundreds and hundreds of small Game Informer logos out of clay. Just the GF.
No,
GI.
It was I think something Nintendo related, like a Yoshi or a Pikmin or something that the rest of her classmates were like, "What are you making? What are you sculpting?" And she's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm doing a gaming thing."
Was it a snow sculpture? Because it's in Informa.
Oh wow, snow.
Yeah,
that's a deep early '90s reference there. Music, well done, Brian. But basically, she pretty much did everything in school. Her essays, her papers. She always geared it to be around video games. And eventually, while she was in school, she went to Game Informer. She wrote an amazing review of Dirge Cerberus, the Final Fantasy spinoff game, sent it to them, and they were like, "Whoa, this is great." They got her application, they brought her in, and she was like, "This is a really great article." And then they found out that she's still in school, and she's like, "Yeah, I can do this." And if she did get the job, she would have to quit school and move to Minnesota, where Game Informer is. And or just change her life. And then Andy McNamara, who was the editor-in-chief, kind of told her like, "Hey, this is like a volatile or a shifty industry. Finish your college first, and come back to us." And he kind of like gave her that, and she was like devastated at first, but then finished school. And she came back in 2008 with all of her training, and she did some networking with Destructoid and Girls in Gaming and different things in the industry. Came back to Game Informer and bugged him a little bit, and before you know it, boom, she was an associate editor. Nice. 2008, and her dream to work for Game Informer came true, and she started just pumping out all the good stuff. While she was there, she was known for actually being the person to write the cover story for the first ever reveal of the new modern take on Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was her that got to break that story to the world, which, of course, with her background.
Meant a lot,
So she got to do that, and it was one of the highlights of her career. She got to meet the people from Crystal Dynamics and get to learn all about Lara and all that stuff. And she also got to break the story for Portal 2, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
She got to go behind the scenes when they were making it, where they actually made the cake, like the real cake.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it's a lie.
Yeah, and she got to write about that. She could be lying. It was her cover story. I think I don't know.
No cake.
You take that out with Meagan. So it was a dream come true. Now, after some time at Game Informer, she was offered a job by a company that she could not turn down. Any guesses what that company could be?
Is it Crystal Meth? No. Crystal Dynamics?
Oh, you got it. That's right. The makers of Tomb Raider were like, "Hey, you want to work for us?"
What? Yeah.
And it was kind of really sweet because the way she felt it, she's like, "Hey, she took the job because." See, Game Informer was her dream. It was her dream job. But working on Tomb Raider was not a dream because she didn't even think it was possible.
Aww.
Yeah. This is like another level for her that she did not even expect ever. And here they are being like, "We want you to be part of our team."
Yeah, this is her heaven. She's not sure this exists, but she knows it's there.
You dream of a good car. You dream of a house that works properly and never breaks. You dream about these things, and then that you can work and they can come true. But this is like her nirvana. Some otherworldly stuff. And here it was, literally welcoming her into it. And this is after the first game, so that's Crystal Dynamics peak right there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're still awesome, So she came on board as the community and communication manager of Crystal Dynamics, and through that started working with the fans. That was her thing. She created the fan site. She worked with the people who also love Tomb Raider to help them, give them ways to love Tomb Raider more. And she rocked that, and during that time got inspired to write a book. She had written one book before about Nintendo with a friend, and this was her first solo book. She wrote, it was 20 years of Tomb Raider, digging up the past to finding the future, which was just her being like, here's 20 years of Tomb Raider. Here's the influence it's had on gaming. Here's the importance of it. Here's just everything you want to know about Tomb Raider in a book she put out there.
Yeah, I've actually heard of that book.
Yeah.
I've read that book.
Yeah.
Well, you know her work. So she had this huge release with the book and great success with the follow-up to Tomb Raider, the second game. I think it was Rise of the Tomb Raider was the second one. Or is Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the latest one?
Yeah. Shadow's the newest one.
Shadow's the newest one, then Rise is correct then.
Yeah.
Then it's Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then Shadows. Because Rise of the Tomb Raider talks about her as she's like a kid and stuff in the flashbacks. So then in 2013, she decided to try some new things. She left Crystal Dynamics because there was a new sensation out in the world that was kicking up some steam. And it was this little game called League of Legends.
Oh, wow.
It was headed by Riot Games, and she worked there.
Oh.
And then left after 6 months.
Oh.
On her departure, all she did to say why she was leaving is she posted that article that you had talked about, Mandy, about the female worker and with the male coworker who go in there. It was a huge. It was the first really exposing article about Riot Games, what goes on there.
Yeah, that's from Kotaku.
Yes. Yeah. So she posted that as like, here's my reason for leaving, and that's when the whole thing with Riot really got brought to light. Well, the article by Kotaku used an anonymous name, and then they interviewed a lot of women anonymously. So, it's...
Yeah, most of them were anonymous. They had a couple who weren't.
Right.
The person who did it was Cecilia D'Anastasio.
Okay.
Right. So. Yeah, she wrote that. So she was there when that article was happening. So she left and went back home. Crystal Dynamics was like, hey, come on, we're here. And there she became the senior community and social media manager. And so she continued to work on Shadows of Tomb Raider, one of Joe's favorite games. At which point she was then approached by Prima, the Game Guide magazines. And they just came to her and were like, can you write a book about women? And she loved it, but also was really like, oh no, because of course she's going to say yes. But this was right as she was working on Shadows of Tomb Raider. So she was like, this is just going to be a tough year. And she did. She, worked super hard and went and put together a list of over 500 women in the industry and interviewed them and found them and found new things herself, found people that she knew personally, but also uncovered, like the first women at Atari who like there's people at Atari, there's women at Atari who like helped launch the the marketing. Like back then when it came to like arcades, people just thought, hey, if the most coins means it's a good game. And she found a way, like one of the people in her book found a way to say, no, it's more about the coins. Let's get out there and really market, find what gamers want, and then give it to them. And then Atari became a thing. So like, it's amazing all the people she's finding in her books. And I could go way more into the book, but buy it, enjoy the awesomeness for yourself. I'll give the name out in a sec. But to tie up a little bit a few other things about her, she's an avid cosplayer, donates all of her cosplay earnings to local charities. Look up her cosplays. She's awesome. It's dope. She makes her stuff. She's also an advocate for accessibility for gaming. Check out her influence in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, how she was able to advocate to make that game more accessible for disabled gamers. And she's also been a strong voice, obviously, for the treatment of women in work. To which, if you can, go read the article, her blog article titled "What You Would Do If You Weren't Afraid." Yeah, which it applies. Like we've talked about instances like that, Mandy, just in the real world, where it's like, man, I would love to do this thing, but if I didn't have this like underlying layer of fear.
Yeah, like the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a blog that really touches on that and her experience she had at PAX one year, which was unfortunate. Currently, she's still working hard. She released this book, the Women in Gaming, in 2018. And I'm sad that it took me a year to hear about this. But since then, she's still been working hard at Crystal Dynamics. And right now, she's gearing up for a really big game with a big franchise. You might have heard of it, The Avengers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, you want to talk about being on a social media manager. That's a hell of a one. And working with the fans. The Avengers are here, especially
those people care a little bit.
They care a little bit, and also the fact that this is like the first big like AAA title of anything that is not based on the movies and is not using the movie people. Like This is its own thing.
It's its own thing, and they're also releasing comics as stories leading up that'll tell you the lead up to why they fracture in the actual game.
Yeah.
So they've actually released, I think, 2 of them so far,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about her first because I think it's going to be pretty obvious and easy for me while I read this book to be like, oh, I want to talk about this person on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to talk about them without giving props to her who put this book together first. Now, when I do talk about it, I'm not going to be just reading what she wrote. Go buy the book, read it yourself. But I will be using what I read as like a launching point to then do my own research and my own interviews and whatnot. So thank you for that, Meagan, because we do this segment every week.
Yeah, we do.
So it's great to have so much more material, especially more women that we can bring.
And it's not just material; it's material that we know is true. Because that's also a lot lot of things.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of material I see or I find when I'm researching, and it's like, wait a minute, this isn't.
Or they contradict each other.
Yeah, they
or
contradict.
try to find.
Yeah, unless it's like a direct interview, I don't know if I can completely trust what this is.
And for us, we're like outside of the games industry.
Exactly.
It's hard. We don't have the resources at the time to go in and get the truth. Unfortunately, we have to rely on what articles other people have made, and then try to base our own opinions and truths off of that.
We're not going to call up Kojima and be like, hey, is this true? I heard that you like monkeys.
Hey,
I heard that's your favorite animal. Is it true?
Yo, Hideo. Let me talk for a sec. What about these monkeys?
Yo Deo.
Yo, Deo.
Deo. Yo, Deo.
So it's great. It's such a good research. Like, not only is it a great research to learn more about women in gaming, and so important. And I hope that, or she has also noted that hopefully one day we don't need books like this.
Yeah.
That you'll just know these people. I think it's just great to get those. To get that information out, and it's a good book for gaming in general. The first section of it is just them teaching you phrases like FPS and MMOs and just what it all means. If you've never heard of games and you want to read this book, they even have a good guide to get you up to speed for when you get in there. So I learned a thing. I learned what MOBAs are actually. I've been saying like massively online, beta applications. And it's like, no, it's just multiple online battle arena. Yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, I'll leave you with one of her quotes that she lives by, one of her mottos. She has many, but one that popped up a bunch when I was looking at interviews is that she believes to always live your passions, which I think
that's good advice.
Is personified by her life.
I like it. And then in 9 years from now, we can do 500 Dragon of the Weeks.
Well, there's only 100 professionals in this game. You'll have to wait for the sequel.
All right, so in 2 years from now, we'll have our book out, 100 Dragon of the Weeks. Look forward to more.
Yeah, but the book is Women in Gaming, 100 Professionals to Play. You can find it on whatever service you order stuff from.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice that there is somebody out there who is looking into kind of like the hidden figures also of the gaming world.
Oh yeah, and that was one of the coolest things she found were the hidden figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I felt better knowing that even someone who is deep in the industry was still finding people that she hadn't known about.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she was probably interviewing people, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I remember Edna." And she's like, "But who? What? Who's this?"
Come on.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
She invented the joystick. I don't know why anyone knows she
Awesome.
And you all can borrow it if you like it.
Okay.
Thank you. I live with you. I was just going to take it. But,
Right.
now I have permission.
Now that you're done with it, it's 100% hers.
Yeah.
We share.
But also buy your own. Damn it.
So, all right. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode. As always, we record live upstairs inside of Tate's Comics, powered by
so
friends.
roomy.
The 3000 Brigade.
Ooh, the cosplay troupe.
They are. As always, you can also find us online.
That's right. Check us out at Taste of Dragons on Twitter and Instagram. We do some fun posts all the week. We rank some dragons, we look at some history of games, and we talk about what we're not talking about. It's a good time.
It is.
The best way to advertise is with content.
Yeah.
We're also on the YouTube. You can check us out with the Drew's News, our new segment.
Yeah, we're playing through Midnight in Salem. Check out our latest episodes to see how we're enjoying it.
Yeah. You'll find out fairly quickly how we are.
It should be out on Monday.
It's a learning experience.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And also, we're trying to get on YouTube more. We're trying to do some more video stuff. So this is us experimenting and exploring new avenues of tasting.
Yeah.
And dragoning.
Because everybody's taste isn't your taste, and our taste isn't yours.
Wow. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, that'll do it for it. So, as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
And that'll be this week's episode.
And we are
The
Taste of Dragons.
See, okay, so I'm 1 for 2 now. I'm 1 for 2. It wasn't going to last. Have a great week, everyone.
Later.